Life begins at Access episode 40. Here's what's coming up this week. We take on UFC legend George St. Pierre in an actual fight. No, we don't. Chat to Nicolas Cage about the Blu-ray release of Ghost Rider 2. And finally get to see the new Mass Effect 3 ending. But first, turn that frown upside down for our physics-fuddling game of the week, Inversion. Just when you thought the third-person cover-based shooter had run out of ideas, bang, your world is turned upside down. Actually upside down in the case of Inversion, the chunky arcade blaster that has you firing physics from an arm cannon like you're reliving the most violent cheese dreams of Isaac Newton. And what a fine idea it is. While grudgingly conceding its importance to the careers of jugglers and high jumpers, we've long suspected that gravity might be stopping us all from having a great deal of fun, which is precisely the premise that Inversion sets out to explore, using as a context the invasion of Earth by a tribe of sand punk remedials who've mysteriously mastered the art of bending thermodynamics to their will, but still talk like Jar Jar Binks. Of course, it's only a clumsy, exposition-heavy half hour before you break out of Jar Jar prison, nick an Isaac wand and go full-scale electromagnetic mental on your captors, which is when the fun really begins. The Gravlink, the super watch that messes with time-space, can fire either blue or red energy. Blue to make things lighter, like rocks or people, and red to make them heavier, like crates or other people. While the rest of the combat feels pretty by the numbers, dash to cover here, blind fire there, stab this guy until blood comes out of his mouth, the game constantly overfeeds you with grav energy because it wants you to use it all the time. It wants you to make this guy float before you shoot his face off. It wants you to fling this car like an errant sausage, and it really wants you to smash this guy into the wall like a plate of undercooked meat. Other sexy ways of ignoring gravity include when there isn't any at all and you're floating balletically through mid-air debris fields, and when these blue vortexes shift your orbit so that gravity is sideways or upside down. This really comes into its own on the later levels when the environments, typically one of Inversion's brownest, weakest points, really start to play up the whole enemies on the ceiling, and the walls too business. Which only leaves us to say that Inversion might not be the finest shooter on PS3, but it is full of being the wrong way up and firing bullets, and that's more than enough for us. Time to sear that ignorance with a big news cauterizer. It's your PlayStation briefing. 2012 Summer of Sport just got even more exciting with the release of the BBC Sports app on PS3. Just head to My Channels on the XMB and you can download the software for free before tucking into highlights and live streams from Wimbledon, Formula 1 and Euro 2012, basically turning your PS3 into a big box of British people not winning things. Furthering that theme is London 2012, the official game of this summer's Olympics, which is out on PS3 right now. So you can either do our boys and girls proud and win all the golds for Team GB, or you can just be Jamaica because they're really fast and good. Yay! Patriotism! Also on the news merry-go-round this week is Gearbox Software senior producer Brian Burleson, who we caught up with for a quick post-E3 chat on Aliens Colonial Marines. And when we say quick chat, we mean argued about which Aliens film is the best.
Well, Aliens is by far my favorite movie in the franchise, of course, right? Alien 3 was fine too.
Thanks, Brian. You're wrong. Now, you may have noticed that the combat in Sleeping Dogs is brutal like a gym session with George St. Pierre. More on that later. So with that in mind, we asked United Front's design director Mike Skupa about the game's face-breaking finishing moves.
You know, you can ram a guy's head into a car door, throw him in the trunk of the car. You can even throw people over railings and into the water. The player can also go out and use tables, walls, an industrial, strength furnace. There's a wide array of options that are both violent, also ranging even to comedic territory.
And finally, if you were wondering whose very British voice this is,
please come and get me,
and who had to be bashed about in a mocap suit to achieve this, then wonder no more, because the brilliantly English Camilla Luddington, star of True Blood and Californication, has been confirmed as the voice of new and improved Lara Croft. Excellent! Now let us play the damn thing. That's it for briefing this week. Check back for more news in episode 41. Skip Zipping through verdant digital pastures now, it's the week's best on the store. We start with exciting news for PlayStation Plus subscribers, with the excellent Deus Ex Human Revolution now available at a discount as part of the Instant Game Collection. Not only that, but there's 50% off all Human Revolution DLC and 50% off the original PS2 Deus Ex. So in summation, that's lots and lots of Deus Ex for not lots and lots of pounds. If you aren't yet a PlayStation Plus member, you can subscribe at the front of the store or by hitting that enticing yellow plus on your XMB. Getting a full-blown digital release on PSN this week is The Amazing Spider-Man, who, in case you live in a comicless vacuum, does whatever a spider can. In addition to that, he can also wear a red and blue unitard, have thumbs and punch robots really hard. Rubbish. If I was a Spider-Man villain, I'd be called Scared Mum Woman, and my weapon would be a giant slipper. And finally, making your PlayStation Vita an altogether better place this week is the new YouTube app, letting you watch your favourite videos anywhere you like on a screen that'll have surrounding smartphones weeping into their rubbish 3G connections. As a suggestion, you could go to youtube.com/PlayStation Access. We hear the videos on that channel are hilarious and wonderfully narrated. That's your lot from the store. Check back next week for more downloadable fun. With hell-sodden sequel Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance now on Blu-ray, we caught up with the film's star and all-round Hollywood legend Nick Cage. Blimey, has he got some stories.
But then the bishop whispered in my ear, "Oh, and by the way, I can be naughty too."
Heavens! Anyway, Mr. Cage, does doing a smaller superhero movie like Ghost Rider mean you get to have more fun?
Yes, Iron Man, Spider-Man, well done. Very well done by the actors and by the filmmakers. Still have a very built-in audience. They're famous. I mean, it's like Mickey Mouse. But the idea of building a character up and taking a character that's not as well known and introducing him to the world. And I think now, as a result of this and the other film, Ghost Rider is now a player in that world.
And with the worlds of games and films moving ever closer, would Big Nick ever be open to working on PlayStation?
Yeah, I'm open to anything. I'm open to exploring any new form of filmmaking that fits within the zeitgeist of our cultures.
Finally, if you could play any other superhero apart from Ghost Rider, who would it be?
I can't think of any other, because and if I say something, it'll be all over the internet. So the truth is, I'm happy with what I've done. I'm happy with Ghost Rider. I think he was the perfect match for me. Even above and beyond Superman, I think Ghost Rider is more me.
Thanks to the gracious Mr. Cage, and Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance is on Blu-ray right now. Remember earlier when we talked about the combat in Sleeping Dogs and how it was all a bit metal bar in face? Yeah, well, you can thank UFC King of Welterweight George St. Pierre for that. A man with, how many black belts was it?
Well, I'm black belt in Kyokushin Karate, third degree black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, Japanese, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, also in Shidokan Karate.
Yeah, alright. And who also served as combat advisor to develop a united front. Stepping into the ring with George was Access scriptwriter Rob Pearson, who we have every confidence in, seeing as how he currently holds the office record for most McDonald's lunches consumed in 1 week. You won't be smiling for long, George. First up was the mirror game, where George challenged Rob to follow him around the cage while trying not to look like a sweaty beanstalk. Then it was on to a throwing demo. Try not to look so terrified, they're only bones. Where, to his credit, Rob did actually manage to hoist a definitely trying George St. Pierre onto his back. Show us your fight face, Rob. Rubbish. And finally, it was time to get cosy with George's shorts, as he demoed his rather painful "I could snap your arm anytime I fancy" technique. Could Rob pull it off? No. After a gruelling 60 minutes of physical exercise, it was time for something we actually could do: ask a man questions.
I don't know how well you know video games, but is there any video game character that if you could fight, you'd like to fight them?
I would like to fight movie stars, like I don't know, like Jean-Claude Van Damme or Steven Seagal or Chuck Norris, Arnold Schwarzenegger. These guys are my idol, I think I would get my butt kicked, for sure. Like nobody can hang out with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's way too strong. He killed the Terminator and the Predator. You can't beat that.
Thanks to to all at Square Enix, and a special thanks to George for the best PE lesson ever. We'll have more on sleeping dogs very soon, and in case you were wondering, it was 8 McDonald's lunches in a week. Before we go this week, there's just time to tell you the Mass Effect 3 Extended Cut DLC is out on PS3 today, which should hopefully soothe the fury over the original ending. Now, we're not going to spoil anything for you. Instead, we're just going to show you our reaction.
I can't do this all alone. I need you.
Do you feel ready?
I can't focus on anything but you.
Just...
That might be something else, actually. See you next week.